there, folks. Welcome into my oneer about Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I just wanted to point out a few things that if you're not aware, there are video versions of this, so you can see that my beard is back. If you haven't yet gotten there, I'm on Spotify and YouTube for full episodes in video. And then also, I'm doing a lot of content having to do with instant reactions. So anything that I'm seeing, I'm trying really hard to record a 1 minute instant reaction that goes up on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts. So if you're looking for more Robbie, those are places you should go. If you would, please go there, rate and review and subscribe to any one of these services. It's super helpful to me. And also, you'll see more content. You also might have known how I feel about this movie if you were watching those versions of me, because I already put out an instant reaction about this movie. Let's start off fresh, like it's no precursors here. Ready to rock and roll. Gonna be exciting. This is gonna be a great episode. You ready? All right, I am. Our friends over at IMDb have the summary of this movie as: once a lone bounty hunter, Mandalorian Din Djarin, and his apprentice Grogu embark on an exciting new Star Wars adventure. It's written by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Noah Clore. It's directed by Jon Favreau. Let's jump over to my Letterboxd review. I gave it 1.5 stars. My review was: I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I have 2 tattoos. I was ride or die for The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, hell, even Book of Boba Fett, and a huge fan of the Clone Wars and Rebels. This movie is less impactful than Solo. It has been 7 years since the live-action Star Wars movie, and the epic crossover event that was initially promised would have been worthy of the big screen. But this was effectively 4 mediocre episodes of The Mandalorian. So yeah, this is a really tough review. I often try not to do reviews of movies that I didn't love. But we should talk about it, because this is a movie that's big and important and in the zeitgeist. And I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to understand why I gave it this review. So this movie opens up with Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, entering a space bar that we've seen, I think, at the end of Mandalorian Season 3. He's seemingly now partnered with Zeb, which is, one of my favorite characters probably from the Rebels ecosystem, and no good reason why they're together right now. I know that they met at the bar that we were talking about. We walk in, we meet Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel Ward. She is basically providing him with bounties that he needs to go and get within the fallen empire. So he's out there trying to do the things, trying to take down the bad guys, but not sure exactly why this is the motivation for the Mandalorian. Doesn't really have to do with a lot of what we established in the television show. So one nice piece here is Pedro Pascal is really only on camera about 8 minutes in this movie, unhelmeted. So the 2 stunt performers and suit performers are actually now above the fold and are mentioned in the actual credits. So Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder are actually listed alongside Pedro Pascal. That's really cool. It's about time. The other people who are in this movie who are maybe really miscast. Jeremy Allen White is the voice of Rod of the Hutt. Johnny Coyne is Lord Janu. And there's a few other people that are here. I think the single best person in this movie might be Martin Scorsese as Hugo Durant. He is so much fun. What the energy he brings, it's like the movie comes to life when he's on screen. And it's not just that I'm a huge Scorsese fan. It is that character is written in a way that really takes advantage of his voice, and he's bringing so much energy to those scenes. It's so much fun. Okay, so the story is basically you have to go and deal with the Hutts. So the Hutts, as in Jabba the Hutts, I think they're brother and sister, the twins, they're called. And they want to try to find Rada the Hutt, who, if you've seen the Clone Wars movie back in the day, Rada was a baby Hutt at the time, and he smelled so bad they called him Stinky. So I'm really glad we brought back Stinky as a main character in the first Star Wars movie in 7 years. But this is, I think, where Dave Filoni is really stuck in the world that he's created with the toys that he's tried to bring to reality. Yeah, this movie is not great. So they go to the twins. So you go to Nal Hutta, the planet area where the Hutts are. It's kind of like a swamp inside of a building. Seems like a pleasure den almost. There's an awful lot of writhing Hutts in lots of cubbies as you're walking in. It reminded me a bit of like House of the Dragon when we go down to the bowels of the pleasure den. And then you're in this world where you're trying to track down. They tell him where Rada is being held. Rada is being held by Lord Janu and is being forced to fight in the gladiatorial pits. We head over there. It looks like a complete ripoff of Blade Runner 2049 or Blade Runner or that entire aesthetic. It's very neon. There's a lot of rain. It's very neo-futuristic. It's fine. That's where we meet Martin Scorsese's character, Hugo. He is sort of the non-player character that tells you where to go when you're playing a video game that has a bunch of fetch quests. And he is the reluctant NPC is what it feels like. We end up seeing him twice. Yeah, we find Rada. Rada says that he's not his dad. He's his own man. He's happy to be fighting. He doesn't need to be saved. And then we end up finding out that there's no reason why Lord Janu is going to release him. He's just going to try to kill him in a specific battle type, which is effectively the three-dimensional chess match that we saw in the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, brought to life. A lot of this just feels reheated. It feels like we've taken things that were in the animated series, many animated series, and stuff that's been in some of the book lore and some of the stuff that is like super nostalgia driven, and it's all just been thrown in a blender, and this is what you end up with. What you haven't heard me talk about is any of the aspects that made The Mandalorian what was so special for me. It was the idea of the religion and the background and the story of being a Mandalorian, of why the helmet is important, of why the armor is important, of why Grogu is this unique character who is both a Force user and a Mandalorian. None of that is addressed in any way, shape, or form. I don't need to spoil the end of this movie. This movie's kind of unspoilable. I didn't like it at all. It was fine. 1.5 stars is really just me being like, I didn't want to throw things at the screen. I was just apathetic. And I am a person this movie should have been made for. And somebody was like, this is not The Godfather. It's one of the comments I got on my instant reaction video. And I agree. This isn't The Godfather. This is a movie that is set in a genre that I have a lot of affection for and have a lot of deep knowledge of. And in the end, you didn't do anything to move this story forward of any of these characters, and you didn't take advantage of any of the things that make these characters special. And that's why I'm so sad about having to make this review and make this video and talk negatively about something I care a lot about. But this movie didn't work for me. It didn't work for me on almost every level. I feel like having so many Hutts that are sort of CGI is hard to parse what's going on in the world. There are some sequences where Grogu is on his own and he's just all of a sudden walking with a walking stick, which feels a lot like we want to be like, hey man, doesn't he look a lot like Yoda? There's just so much of that in this movie that just doesn't feel like it's there for any reason other than you to point at the screen. And that feels sad. There's a lot of great story that could be told in this ecosystem. I mentioned in my letterbox review that originally the plan was to bring together all the things that were happening in Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka into one single story. And that would have likely been the story around Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I think that would have been amazing. It would have been a reason to do a movie out of these things that were television shows. And I'm not saying that movies are this impenetrable medium that nothing that isn't serious belongs in. But you missed a huge opportunity here, in my opinion, with this movie. You're not going to get a shot to do a Mandalorian and Grogu movie again right now. So this is going to push any of that off into the future. So I don't think we're going to get any of the stories that were possible. And I think that's the problem here is, I will often say I should review the movie that's in front of me, not the movie I want to see. But in this case, there was a plan, and this is the one shot they're likely going to have for these characters to be on the big screen. And I'm saddened by the fact that this was what we ended up with. This feels like the lowest common denominator of what they could have made of a movie in the Star Wars universe using these characters. I don't know why Jeremy Allen White is in this movie. It has really very little impact on the character he's playing. And I love Jeremy Allen White. You can't hear his voice. His voice is very modulated and changed. So I'm not sure why we chose to use him. Whereas like Martin Scorsese is very much playing an alien who sounds like Martin Scorsese. And you can feel his energy coming through. So that's like celebrity voice casting that is working versus one that I feel like isn't. Okay, I'm going to stop talking there. I'm sure I've pissed everybody off, but it's just where I am right now. And that's not to say I'm not a Star Wars fan or I'm not into these things. I just watched the first episode of Spider Noir last night. It's pretty good. And I've been watching a ton of television. I feel like I've been catching up on Euphoria and all these other things that have been taking up a lot of my time while we're in the process of moving. And it's not been a lot of movies. So taking the time out to go to a movie, to see something I was hopeful for, and to have it not meet my expectations or hopes is the problem. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. I am sure I'm going to get some hate comments right now. I am happy to chat about it. But remember, this is coming from a position of I'm saddened by this review. Not like I'm sitting here and going, I knew this was going to be terrible. I walked into this movie with the hope that it wasn't going to be terrible. That's where I'm at. I hope this didn't make you too angry. Please subscribe. Please don't unsubscribe. I'm happy to be here chatting about movies. I'm really hopeful to see I Love Boosters, hopefully. And I just bought tickets to go see Disclosure Day on opening night. I love movies. Thank you so much for sticking around. Have a good day. Go to the movies. Bye.